When I'm in the water facing the kayak, I'm going to take my leg at the front of the boat, which is my left one in this case, hook it into the cockpit. With my left arm I'm putting across, I'm holding my deck lines, or Lizzie's deck lines, or them both. And the idea for that is to pull the kayaks together. And then using my leg and my arm to pull myself and leave myself onto the back deck. Other leg goes in, and then twist around, sit up.
It's a fundamental rescue move worth practicing until it's second nature. The heel hook. Then, if you're hooking with your left leg, use the left hand to grasp your deck lines and the rescuer's deck lines. Use hand and heel to pull yourself out of the water and keep the body rotation going as you roll into your kayak. For the rest of these sessions, Gordon will be the rescue.
If you just get out your boat and hold on to your boat, go to the front end of your boat. The height of this boat out of the water now, that lifts the cockpit clear. I can then spin the boat back up the right way.
When doing so, he turns the kayaks bow to stern.
And hold on to the deck lines. Can I have your paddle, please? Holding on to the deck lines, lying across the boat with my armpit on the centre line of the boat, pulling my knees towards my chest. Just hook your left leg in, Janice, and then roll up onto the back deck. Other leg in, and spray deck on, and we can be on our way.
In Janice's early attempts, we see several common mistakes. She correctly faces the rescuer's kayak, but she reaches for the deck lines before she does the leg hook, and she's reaching with the wrong hand first. As a result, she can just reach as far as her cockpit rim rather than her deck lines and rescuer's deck lines, and her leg isn't securely hooked when she starts to pull herself out. What's more, on this attempt, Janice stops partway through her rolling motion and twists back on herself.
You'll push down on the stern of the kayak, and the rescuer will lift it onto the deck of their kayak to drain the water, and then flip it back upright. The rescuer can now maneuver your kayak next to theirs, bow to hold the front of the empty boat's cockpit, and lean over hard to stabilize both boats. It's important for them to stay low. Reach across the deck of your kayak and grab a hold of the cockpit coaming or deck lines and climb onto the rear deck of the boat. Once you're on board, stay low and keep your weight balanced between both kayaks. Then swivel until you can slide your legs into the cockpit. This whole time the rescuer
to your side. The guy in the water, you'll direct him to float on his back with his head towards the stern and to put his outside heel in under here. And then to take his outside arm and roll up and straighten the leg on top of the kayak and keep rolling. Anything else to help a swimmer kayaker get back into their boat. It works well for more people than any other rescue because it allows you to use your lower body. It's done by having the person in the water with their head towards their stern, putting their outside leg into the thigh brace and their outside arm across the kayak. Grabbing either the rescuer's wrist, if that's available, or a lifeline or other part of the kayak if it's not. And then roll on top of the kayak while straightening their leg. And by straightening the leg, That'll put the body on top of the kayak, and then they keep on rolling until they're seated in their seat. It works really, really well. Of course, a little practice is always a good idea.
See how she's sitting nice and flat on the water? So I put the heel hook rescue. She's gonna take her left leg and stick it underneath the cockpit combing here. Now I've got all my weight on her boat, so I can't tip over. This is like a giant buoyancy aid. I can lean with all my weight to keep her nice and stable. Mom, whenever you're ready, I want you to go ahead and reach across and grab onto your deck lines. There you go. She uses the leverage from her lower body.
Og så godt under albumen her, så er man faktisk ret langt oppe allerede. Ja. Og så sådan på siden der er det. Og monte sig op. Så her skal man sådan ligesom skubbe sig selv ind over. Ja. Og så er du der faktisk allerede, ikke? Så skal du egentlig bare... Ja, så skal du bare...
Okay, now he positions himself well. Get his foot under the thigh brace closest to me. And I'm going to ask him to reach over to the deck line of my kayak so that both kayaks are staying together, and pull himself over the back deck of his kayak, keeping his body low. The furthest he pulls himself over his back deck, the easiest it is for him to get the second leg into the cockpit. There we are. I'm going to ask him to rotate his body back into a seated position, making sure he rotates towards my kayak. Beautiful job.
Okay, I'm going to do this again. You're going to take your leg. That's the first thing that leads in. Move over, grab your your arm to the combing. So then I am just, and this is a whole motion, so it's like a corkscrew. So I'm doing it in slow-mo.
And your weight's out here on the yeah.
The weight is always out here, but sometimes you think it doesn't hurt, by the way. Then you stick your other leg in. So all I'm going to do, that's it.